The thing that is inside this box is something that I've been waiting for a week. And I believe this is my new laptop. So I'm super excited to open this and give you my first kind of review about it. Before that, let's get into the office and then we can get into unboxing it. And you might be currently wondering, why did I get this new laptop? And the simple reason for that is I've been starting to make more of this. I've been starting to make more videos, and my old laptop can't even handle Premiere. So I wanted a fast laptop that I can do videos from anywhere in the world while I'm traveling. So that's the simple answer for that. And this laptop is supposed to be a beast. So I'm super excited to see how it is. There's currently some slight problems with my lighting setup. As you can see, this is what I'm working with right now. I need to always put this light on top of this screen. And it drives me crazy because it doesn't, as you can see, it doesn't really hold there. It's so annoying to always set up. So we need to fix that before we get into this video. And that's how we fix the situation. I don't have to worry anymore about falling lights, and I can focus on editing on both of these screens. Yeah, just a small quick fix. I think it's gonna fall at some point either way, but at least it's better than on top of this screen. Okay, so let's unbox this thing. Sorry for the wobbly camera again. Thank God I have the wide angle lens. This would be impossible without, so just gonna open this with the knife and then let's see what's inside. Okay, so first, I think the charger and all of that is in here. So, charger here, and then the computer itself or the laptop. You have the Razer logo here. I don't necessarily like the logo that much, but this thing has power. Let's take the cushions out and then actually see how's the device itself. That's sick. Okay. So they did really good job with the packaging. I like this actually a lot. Get help with the Razer support. Thank you for choosing the Razer system. Just a card and then the device itself. And it's surprisingly not that heavy. This is probably about the same as my old laptop and it's like 3 times the power. Now let's take this out from the plastic. Wow, okay, this is insane. I like the design a lot. I might get a skin to remove the Razer logo. It does not really look that great, but I don't care about the logo that much, to be honest. Let's open this to the wrong side. That's sick. Look at the display. This is a 144 Hz display, which means that it's super smooth and it doesn't have bezels almost at all. It's almost all screen. This looks insane. Look at that. I am so excited to try this out and see how it performs. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and you might be wondering now, why didn't you get a MacBook like every single one in this world? And the reason why I didn't get a MacBook is that I think the power in those devices are outdated. They don't compare with the Windows laptop in terms of power. There are some great things in MacBooks too. I, for example, love AirDrop. That's one thing that you don't have in the Windows laptops. Also, I freaking love how smooth the system works. And then just the design overall. It's a great laptop for most of the people. But for me, when I'm doing video editing, I'm doing Photoshop, I'm doing After Effects, I just need that extra power. And that's why I have this PC here that can run all of that. But while I'm traveling, I didn't have a device that do any of that. But now I have it. This Razer blade should run all of that, and I'm super excited. Let's open this still. I think I can just pull this. Okay, let's just take it with the knife. And let's see how big the charger is, because a lot of people are complaining that the charger for this thing is huge, and yeah. So this is also a huge downside to some of these high-end Windows laptops. This is almost as heavy as the laptop itself, and I'm not even kidding. Or maybe not as heavy as the laptop, but still, it's a pretty heavy thing. And this is just what you have to deal with. It's gonna take some space from my camera bag, but yeah. I don't care. It's a sick device. I will find a way to fit this to my camera bag either way. But yeah, it's pretty huge. Let me show in comparison with the laptop. So yeah, just in comparison with the laptop itself, this is how big the charger is. So yeah, it is a bit heavy setup to have while we are traveling. This weighs probably like 3 kilos in total, or like 2.5, not 100% sure, but yeah. Excited to test this out, and I will do like an in-depth review about the laptop once I've actually played with it a bit. It's also for gaming, because I like to game sometimes, so I can download some games on that, and that's gonna be dope. Okay, this is just the charger if I want to do that. Right out of the box, I think it looks incredible. I'm probably gonna change the skin on this. Other than that, looks really, really good, and I've never been this stoked about a piece of equipment before. The question and answer part of this video. I asked on my Instagram, send me some questions about the gear and so on. So I'm gonna go through some of these first, and then I want to talk a bit about gear. So the first question here is, how is the display on the Razer Blade? And I have to admit, it's not as good as on the MacBooks. MacBooks tend to have a really high color accuracy, and just the brightness levels are a bit higher on MacBooks. So in the display competition, MacBook wins. But for me, I can do all of my work with it, and it's 144 Hz full HD display, so everything looks extremely smooth. And even though I do a lot of color correction and color grading in both Photoshop and Premiere, I still can get every single thing done on that, even though the color accuracy is a bit worse than on the MacBook. So for me, it works. For you, I don't know, you have to decide for yourself. The next question here is, what footage do you use for videos? For example, you can edit 4K resolution footage with MacBook Pro in Final Cut. And I don't really have any experience with editing 4K footage on a MacBook, but on the Razer Blade, I can easily edit 4K video in Premiere, and that's just a huge advantage compared to the MacBooks. MacBooks are not really updated to the better specs yet, so they can't really handle 4K that well. But I've still seen some of my friends edit 4K footage, but it just tends to be a bit slow. So yeah, I can edit 4K resolution on the Razer Blade. And then there's a lot of questions about, why did you buy a MacBook? Is a MacBook better for what you're doing and all of that? And I disagree with that a bit. Even though there's some insane features on the MacBook, in my opinion, the investment is not worth it because it's expensive and it's way slower than the Windows machine. So I compared the specs between the latest MacBooks and the latest high-end Windows devices, and literally everywhere in the internet people are saying, don't get a MacBook now. They are outdated. They're way too pricey for what you're getting, so that's the simple reason why I got a Windows device. And I'm not saying MacBooks are bad, they're really good devices for like most of the people. And all my friends use MacBooks, and they've tried me to get into using them too. But me, who has used Windows devices my whole life, I don't necessarily want to change my system now when I'm fully used to using Windows and I can get things done way quicker. So for me, everything is about time. I have so many things going on in my life, so I want to get things done as quickly as possible. And the last thing I want to happen is these devices slowing me down. So yeah, that's a simple answer why I got the Razer instead of a MacBook. And then someone asked, how big is the laptop? So it's a 15.6-inch laptop, but the bezels are really small, so the laptop doesn't really feel that big. And in my opinion, it's not even that heavy. But of course, if you put it to your backpack and you carry around all day, it might start to get a bit heavy. So it just depends on which kind of person you are. I don't really bother carrying a really heavy backpack on my back. Then there's a question, what's the hardest thing to do on a laptop that is easier to do on a PC? And for me, it's just handling everything on the screen. I have two displays here, so I can easily run two different websites, check YouTube videos at the same time and edit at the same time. But on the laptop, it's a bit harder because the display is smaller. But yeah, simply, one of the things that is way harder on a laptop is just handling everything on your displays because the display is so much smaller. Then someone asked, what is my old laptop? And this is the Asus ZenBook UX410UW, I believe that's the model. And this is a great laptop. Someone asked, is this a good laptop? And it is. But when you are doing video editing, this is a no-go. This was 1,300 euros, and the CPU in this device is just not capable of handling high-end video editing. So this is pretty much a computer that I can't use anymore. But this worked for me so well. When I was only using Photoshop, I did all of my work for this like for 1.5 years. So I only used this laptop and got everything done with it. And I believe it's a great device for most of the people out there. And if you want a MacBook that has similar specs than this, you have to pay at least $1,000 more, and that's just how Apple is. Way too overpriced in my opinion for the speed that you are getting. And then someone asked the things I must keep in mind while buying a new laptop. And in my opinion, it comes down to two things. One of them is what you're gonna use the laptop for. So if you are someone who doesn't do any editing, you're just like scrolling to the internet daily and check some YouTube videos, you don't really need a fast laptop. So in those type of cases, I don't think it's a good investment to get a fast laptop. Just get one of those like $400 to $600 devices and you would be more than fine. But if you are doing something that requires more from your laptop, like video editing or 3D or something like that, then you need to go for the higher end devices, and those devices are extremely expensive. So don't waste your money if you don't really need a higher end laptop. And then in my opinion, the second thing you have to keep in mind when buying a laptop is thinking about the small things. Thinking about how the speakers are, how the display is, how long does the battery last for, and all of these little things, because you are probably gonna use this device for years. So it's better that you're happy with the device. So do your research, think thoroughly what you're gonna need the laptop for, and then decide on the smaller things. There's so many laptops out there, but just doing a simple search on Google, for example, writing what is a good laptop for someone who doesn't really need a higher end performance, and you will get your answer pretty quickly. So that's everything for the questions. If you have any more, you can put them down in the comments. But before I end this video, I want to talk a bit about gear. And I'm gonna be one of these annoying creators again who is gonna say to you, gear doesn't matter at all. And as cliche it sounds, it's so true. You don't really need any of these fancy cameras, any lighting setups or anything like that in the beginning. The only thing you nowadays need in the beginning is a decent phone, and then you're good to go. In most phones nowadays, there's 4K video, there's extremely high quality photos and so on. So when you are starting out, don't even look into any high-end cameras. You don't really need those. I think it's better to start from small, practice on these devices, and then at some point, if you want to take your work a bit further and maybe improve the quality, then it's worth the investment, especially if these devices are gonna bring money to you. For me, when I create these videos, when I buy all of this gear, it's something that I use daily. It's something that I know will pay itself back. So that's why I have all of this equipment and so on, and it just helps me to get the work done. But I have to admit that when you have too much gear, sometimes it gets a bit confusing. You're going somewhere, you can't fit everything in your camera bag, and then when you pack all of those lenses and all of the cameras and so on, then you go in the spot and you end up using one camera and one lens, and then you're like, okay, why did I bring all of this gear? I don't really even need it. And that's a thing that I've noticed a lot of the times. When you have a lot of gear, you kind of get confused what to use and so on. So in my opinion, it's always better to start with less equipment and then move forward slowly when you are getting better and better. And one thing about gear is also that the more you pay, the less the increase in quality actually is. Yes, you might get some doper features, more video capabilities and so on, but let's say you're shooting on an SLR camera that costs you, let's say, like $1,000, and then you upgrade to a camera that is like $3,000. The difference between the camera qualities is not really that big. So just think where you need your gear and do you really need all of those fancy features? Because for me, for example, I bought this GH5. Yes, I use it daily. Do I use all the features on it? No. But for me personally, at some point I'm gonna use those features either way, and this camera is gonna pay itself back to me. So for me, it's worth the investment. But yeah, the main point I'm trying to achieve here is that before you buy any gear, think if you really need it. Think all of these things, if it's gonna pay you back. Are you really gonna use some of the features on it? Is this worth the investment? Think about, is it worth to upgrade if you have to pay $1,000 to get like a 4K video on your camera? But yeah, that's everything for this video today. I actually have to go catch a plane now because I'm going to Denmark and then I'm gonna road trip to Finland with my friends, and I'm super excited about that. But if you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button, and there's the small bell next to the subscribe button, so click that so you will be always notified when I post a new video. Also follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, it's Visualsofjulius. Don't forget to like the video and also comment down below if you have any questions about anything. I'm always down to answer. But now I'm gonna catch a plane, so I see you in the next video.